As I said, what I did was summarize all of our. I looked at all of our agendas and went through the minutes for the 12 meetings that we had. A lot of it was redundant, of course, but tried to pick out that as well as focus on some of our objectives for the coming year, which is not intended to be all inclusive, but be able to report back to the council what our accomplishments were and the trajectory that we're going on. So when the commissioners are prepared to vote,
unfortunately, some of our members weren't here, so
right.
I'll move for acceptance of the report to the City Council as prepared by Mr. Gorey.
I'll second that.
A discussion? All in favor, thank you.
Aye.
Aye. Let's see. That's the annual report. I don't want to belabor anything, but I do have one issue that I am reviewing, and that is the tourist tax that the county collects. The city of Vero Beach collects $488,000 a year for the city of Vero Beach on tourist tax, 488, and the balance of the county collects $361,000. 488 collected, city 361,000 in tourist tax. Part of the usage of that money is for dune replacement. And in dune replacement, it also includes a number of expenses, salaries, benefits, operating, and the dune replacement. Now, to be sure, there are government grants, but for the dune replacement portion of the $488,000, there is zero dune replacement for section number 5, which is the city of Vero Beach. However, on other beaches, section 3, section 7, monitoring 1 and 2, ampersand, beach preservation, all of the preservation money that's going toward the dunes that collected from either the state or from this tourist tax, zero goes to the city of Vero Beach. Just wanted to make a comment. I'm pursuing it, and I know Jim has in the past. I know that Cindy's very aware of it. What has happened is that the city has urged the county to consider preservation, restoration for the city of Vero Beach, and has been denied. But I think for the public that is a...
That's been going on for some time, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, it has.
Oh,
And as a side note, that tourist tax money, different portions of it, are actually eligible expenditures under state law go above and beyond just dune restoration. They encompass capital projects and other things that that we've done with our own money in the past years. So no, it's not a new issue, but certainly any time that we've asked for a share of it to do the things that are it's eligible to be spent on, we've been told no.
Are we paying for our beach sand renourishment now out of our own budget? Are we doing that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
And it's not that we haven't asked, but we've been told no, and therefore we foot the bill ourselves. In terms of how that changes, wow,
And is this a tax that comes up for renewal this year, Bob?
No.
There's another one that comes
The tax
up.
we're talking about is that extra percentage that goes onto hotel bills and things like that. It's actually not collected by the city. It's collected by the county.
But Bob Solari was talking about one that comes up for renewal this year.
That is the 1 cent sales tax.
The
that we
1%
use for
sales
all of
tax
our-
comes up in the fall of this year, right?
Is it the fall of this year? I thought it was good through 2017
I
or
think it does come up
2018.
this fall.
I think it does too, and that's a big amount. I mean,
That's the entirety of our funding for capital projects at this
Yeah,
point.
and,
That's our Fund 304. That's where we get $2 million a year, and that's where we pay for road paving, bridge.
Just the 1%. Right?
Just the 1 cent.
1%.
Yeah.
And
that's
the fund
restricted.
is that the fund that's already pledged to some of our loans, Cindy? I mean,
Yes, some portions of it
are
are.
not what we call a non-ad valorem taxes that are pledged. That's one of them, right?
If you look in your adopted budget, you're looking at Fund 311 and 304. 311 is where the money comes in. We take the debt service payments that we are already obligated to. Whatever's left over, we put into 304. We spend on road paving and recreation buildings and things like that. So in the absence of that revenue source, both the debt service and all those other capital projects would have to be sourced from somewhere else.
I got
Are
the
the policies set by the state, rules and regulations on the division of these monies? Does the state decide?
There are state rules on the division of the
Okay,
monies.
so if they say that it's to go to the total county, then that would be our basis.
Now we started talking about two different things, so let's make sure we don't mingle the two. On the tourist development tax,
Yes.
no, there's no set division of the money.
no set
So
division.
this is the reason why we're not, quote unquote, entitled to a portion of it by law, and therefore us getting it is a matter
So
of
it's
something
allocated to
besides
county,
law.
and the county can do as they want.
The Tourist Development Council controls it as they see fit. So that's how that's set up.
Okay.
On the 1 cent sales tax, yes, there's a formula for
that's
us to
fixed.
get our share.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I got the feeling from listening to some other people, around that maybe this 1% sales tax was there was consideration of not backing it. I mean, letting it ride out this year.
I think this council is
Expire.
already, if I'm not mistaken, Sherry, has not the city council already endorsed resolutions in support of the renewal of the 1 cent
I would
sales
think
tax?
we'd want to renew it.
I believe
haven't
that they
seen
have. I believe that they did at a meeting a few months ago, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, because it's called a discretionary sales surtax, so it is subject to referendum at the local level, and so that's why it comes up this fall.
Yeah, it's a 10-year deal.
Exactly.
And it expires this year.
Exactly.
Right. That's right. Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
But I will tell you, from the city's perspective, that is the entirety of our funding for infrastructure.
That's $500,000 a year for us.
No, it's about $2 million a year for us.
$2 million on our side. Yeah. That's a big buck. We can't afford to lose that $2 million.
That would be, yeah, that would, and more importantly, not, I'm not sure where the source of funding for our capital and construction would come from. Right now, if you look in your adopted budget, we get $2 million a year in sales, 1 cent sales tax. Of that, about 2, 4, 6, about 800,000 goes to debt service, and the other 8.
Yeah, that's the 800,000 allocated to the golf course payment. Basically, that's
Dodgertown and a couple of other things, and
that's
then
where
about $1 million to $1.5 million, depending on the year, goes to capital
what's left.
projects.
Yeah.
To the degree the golf course can be sold at a reasonable rate, that will free up a substantial amount of money that could be used, for example, for OP, a portion of OPEB. But
again,
that's iffy.
That's really iffy.
Let me help you. The outstanding principal on the golf course is $6 million.
Right.
The appraisal is not half of that.
Not
I don't
even
believe
half
at this
that.
point. So have we gotten the appraisal
Couldn't
yet?
agree more with you.
But now we're getting zero. If we get something is better than zero.
Well,
But
if we
again,
had-
the OPEB. Let's let's think about our fund balance policy. I love it because we'll have one and that'll help us. OPEB is going to be a recurring cost.
Yes, it is.
And the money that will be freed up by the Dodgertown debt service is restricted to be spent on capital anyway. So those two things are not going to help each other.
Well, in reality, we're still going to be left with $3 million of debt on the books.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we were a corporation, we'd have to mark to market, and we got a $10 million to land on the books, and we got a $3 million value. That's a $7 million hit to the equity.
We don't mark to market.
I know we don't mark to market.
But what we will have.
Corporations would.
But what we will have is if we sell it, instead of $700,000 a year in debt service, let's say we sold it for half, the extra $300,000 a year we don't have to pay in debt service would free up money for stormwater, street paving.
Right.
But it's definitely money that's restricted for capital expenditures. It will not help us with OPEB.
Yeah.
But if people start building things on it, then in fact you're going to get a return.
Right.
But it's all speculative as well as with the old power plant.
But this whole discussion, we're wealthy and we got a $7 million hit on our balance sheet. Come on. Okay.
The other thing,
well, there's somewhere between being wealthy and being on the verge of bankruptcy.
That's right.
That is the problem, is that there are those who are painting the rainbow and those who are just seeing us as the next Detroit within 5 weeks. So, I mean, somewhere in between.
And the other thing is, I think,
is reality.
Have a look at the CAFR for Reality Dose sometime in the statistical section in the back. The city's highest individual single taxpayer with the highest individual single assessed property value, have a look at what their annual tax payment is in revenues. I think it's about $50,000. So no one individual property, no matter how developed, is going to make much of a difference in the city's collected revenue.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we have a $2.4 billion taxable value that generates $4 million a year or now $5 million a year in taxable income. So to get another $5 million would take another $2.3 billion, and I don't think you can do that on one piece of property. That's not highly likely. So you really, every little bit helps, but you have to keep that developed increase in taxable value thing in perspective and look at what gets paid into the city coffers in ad valorem taxes by the very highest individual taxpayer, and it's not really a lot.
Taking it with a 17th Street location, that was good from our point of view.
Yeah.
That's additional tax bases right there.
But it doesn't help the actual revenues to any degree.
Not much, but
not by one property.
Everything will help. We done, Mr. Chairman?
Any members? John, welcome. Thank you.
I'll move for adjournment.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I get to do this.